Good evening and welcome to NTD UK News. I'm Stuart Lees and here are today's top stories. The European Parliament voted to ratify the post-Brexit trade deal, and Prime Minister Boris Johnson hails the vote. And the government permits the use of self-driving vehicles on UK motorways. Arlene Foster has announced she will step down as leader of the DUP and as Northern Ireland's First Minister. It comes after 3/4 of Assembly members in her party called for a leadership contest. The Prime Minister and leaders of the EU expressed hope on Wednesday that the post-Brexit trade deal will open a new positive era of cooperation. That's after the European Parliament voted to ratify the deal.
Members of the European Parliament on Wednesday overwhelmingly backed the post-Brexit trade deal. MEPs voted 660 to 5 in favour, with 32 abstentions. This marks the symbolic end of years of difficult negotiations between the UK and the bloc. Prime Minister Boris Johnson's government and the EU struck the deal on Christmas Eve last year. Johnson welcomed the vote. He said on Wednesday, "This week is the final step in a long journey. Now is the time to look forward to the future and to building a more global Britain." And EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen said the Brexit agreement marks the foundation of a strong and close partnership with the UK. European Council President Charles Michel spoke of a new era. The trade agreement ensures that free trade continues between the two sides without tariffs and quotas. The agreement also gives each side tools to ensure compliance. On Tuesday, von der Leyen said the deal has real teeth. She warned the UK of breaching the deal's terms.
And let me be very clear. We do not want to have to use these tools, but we will not hesitate to use them if necessary.
In a resolution, EU legislators called the UK's withdrawal a historic mistake, but they insisted that approving the text was the best option to avoid economic disruptions. Lobby group Business Europe said the ratification brings clarity and legal certainty. The long-term effects of Brexit on trade remain to be seen. Relations between the UK and the EU have been strained since the Brexit transition period ended on January the 1st. The two sides are at odds over the way the deal is being implemented in Northern Ireland. There have also been rows over COVID-19 vaccine supplies. EU lawmakers' approval comes 5 years after Britain decided to leave the bloc.
40 million people in England live in areas virtually without new cases of the CCP virus. That's according to an analysis by the Times newspaper. It looks at figures of England's 6,800 areas and finds nearly 5,000 of them reported no more than 2 new cases in the 3rd week of April. More than 38 million people live in these areas, about 70% of England's population. Scientific advisors to the government say the figures suggest England's lockdown easing roadmap is on track. Next week, ministers will decide whether the next step will go ahead as planned. It will include indoor venues reopening and people able to meet inside their homes. And in other news, the City of London plans to turn empty office spaces into homes. Pandemic restrictions left the once bustling streets of central London's office district deserted. Here's NTD's Jane Well with more.
Central London's financial district, where glass meets historic buildings. As part of its pandemic recovery plan, the City of London is looking to convert office spaces here into homes. It's aiming for at least 1,500 homes by 2030. Its plans also include offering long-term lets to creatives at a lower cost, as well as investing in the city's public gardens and open spaces. Policy Chair at the City of London Corporation, Catherine McGuinness, says firms want to keep a central office hub, but the way they operate will change. Many companies are reshaping the way they work, with staff splitting their time between working at home and in the office. Urban areas, including the world's most powerful financial centres, are adapting to post-pandemic trends. Jane Werrell, NTD News, London.
Prime Minister Boris Johnson is facing a formal investigation over the refurbishment of his Downing Street flat. The UK's political spending watchdog says it will look into how the renovation was funded.
Boris Johnson insists he has not broken any laws over the refurbishment of his Downing Street flat. But the Electoral Commission said there were reasonable grounds to suspect an offence had been committed. At the Prime Minister's questions on Wednesday in the Commons, Labour leader Keir Starmer said the Commission's suspicion was incredibly serious and asked Johnson to clarify the matter.
Who initially, and Prime Minister, initially is the key word here, who initially paid for the redecoration of his Downing Street flat?
As for the latest stuff that he's bringing up, he should know that I paid for Downing Street refurbishment personally, Mr. Speaker.
Labour urges that no stone should be left unturned during the investigation. A Conservative Party spokesman said they believe all reportable donations have been transparently and correctly declared. But he said the party will continue to work constructively with the Electoral Commission on this matter.
Today, the UK government became the first country to announce it will regulate the use of self-driving vehicles at slow speeds on motorways. This type of vehicle could be seen on UK roads by the end of this year.
The Department for Transport says it's working on specific wording to update the country's highway code for the safe use of self-driving vehicle systems, starting with automated lane-keeping systems, also known as ALKS. ALKS is designed for use on a motorway in slow traffic. The inbuilt system enables a vehicle to drive itself in a single lane, while allowing the driver to take over control when required. The government says the technology could improve road safety. Human error currently contributes to over 85% of accidents. The government expects that by 2035, around 40% of new cars in the UK could have self-driving capabilities. This would create up to 38,000 new skilled jobs. However, insurance companies are warning that calling ALKS automated or using the term self-driving will confuse British drivers into thinking the cars can drive themselves, in turn causing accidents and risking a public backlash against the technology.
Toyota is stepping up its automation ambitions. It's to buy Lyft's self-driving technology unit for £400 million. The acquisition will give the Japanese carmaker access to Lyft's so-called Level 5 team, as well as a direct presence in Silicon Valley and London. For ride-hailing service Lyft, the deal allows it to become profitable sooner and takes away the risk of developing a costly technology that has yet to enter the mainstream. Toyota currently offers Level 2 automation, featuring advanced driver assistance technology. It has other self-driving projects in the works, including a joint venture with SoftBank. And in other news, a new plagiarism scandal is making headlines in China. A Chinese automaker is allegedly copying the designs of Western vehicles. Multiple new models on display this week at the Shanghai Auto Show look almost identical to pre-existing European models. NTD's Tiffany Meyer has the story.
Great Wall's electric car Punk Cat is believed to be based on the iconic Volkswagen Beetle. U.S. website CarScoop says Volkswagen is considering taking legal actions against the Chinese carmaker. The German company has stopped making the Beetle model since 2019, but it still owns the design rights. Volkswagen's new trademark e-Beetle suggests the legendary Bug might make a comeback as an electric car. The Volkswagen Beetle isn't the only Western car model being replicated. Porsche and Rolls-Royce are in similar circumstances. Let's compare Rolls-Royce's SUV with Great Wall's Tank 800, plus Porsche sedan with Great Wall's Lightning Cat. Great Wall isn't the first Chinese company that is drawing scrutiny. Over the years, consumers have seen Chinese clones of many Western vehicles, including the Mercedes-Benz G-Class 4x4 versus Chinese-made BJ80C, Porsche's Macan versus Chinese-made Zoti SR9, Rolls-Royce's Phantom versus China's Geely GE Limo, and Range Rover's SUV versus China's Landwind X7, among others.
Germany has found a huge deposit of lithium, a key material in electric car batteries. Geologists estimate it's one of the biggest deposits in the world. NTD's Patrick Hayden takes a look.
Germany has discovered a huge deposit of lithium in the upper Rhine River Valley in the Black Forest area. Geologists say it's one of the world's biggest deposits. It holds more than enough to make 400 million electric cars. The area of the deposit is more than 4,600 square miles. Germany's electric vehicle industry is rising rapidly. Mining companies are striving to retrieve the lithium that is trapped in hot water thousands of meters below the Rhine. One geoscience professor says China is trying to monopolize the market.
China
is becoming very dominant and is carrying out very aggressive raw materials policies in that it is not only trying to secure primary raw materials for itself, but is starting to take over the production of intermediary products and then to sell them.
He says China now controls around 80% of the market and Germany is making itself very dependent. Skeptics are concerned about political opposition to mining in Europe's densely populated areas. German utility EnBW already has geothermal power stations and is exploring whether carbon-neutral lithium can be a profitable byproduct. It's planning to invest nearly £1.5 billion in lithium extraction. Because of the link in Germany between lithium production and geothermal energy, its advocates say it's guaranteed to be a green solution. The European Commission has estimated Europe will need up to 18 times more lithium by 2030, compared with now, and 60 times more by 2050. Patrick Hayden, NTD News, London.
Still to come, a hearing at the UK Supreme Court starts a Google data privacy claim. Millions of UK iPhone users could get compensation. That and more when we return.